All right, I'm here with Josh Parisian, UFC Heavyweight Josh Parisian, who's fighting Parker Porter next week on UFC Fight Night Blades versus Lewis, November 28th. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How does it feel to have that UFC Heavyweight next to your name?
I just feel relieved. It's what I anticipated. It's what I worked hard for. In my mind, I knew it was going to happen. It was just when. So when it happened, it wasn't like, yes, it was more like, oh, thank goodness. You know what I mean? This is what I wanted.
How's training camp been?
Everything has been great. I feel like everybody always says that, but like it legitimately has been amazing. I have not been injured. Not even minor injury. Strength conditioning has been amazing. Everything is just going exactly how I wanted to, and I'm peaking at the right time, which is definitely the most important thing. Everybody works hard. You know what I mean, everybody's working as hard as they can, but it's just who's going to peak at the right time, who's doing the right stuff, and I feel like I've done that.
You had a daughter this year. How is it being a dad?
Man, it's great. It's I feel like it's not super hard to make a baby, but some reason it feels like the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Before we get into the fight, I have to pick your brain on a couple things. Firstly, so you said that after your last loss, you changed up a lot of things. What did you change up?
uh, let's see. One big thing. I had a lot of personal stuff going on in my life at that time, so it was hard to just kind of be focused on the fight. Um, and then I watched a lot of video of my opponent, and then I just wasn't nervous at all. And I wasn't sharp out there. I was kind of like, I don't know. I guess I almost like was overconfident and just didn't think that it didn't matter what happened, I was going to win, whatever it was going to be. So one thing, I don't watch fights of my opponents anymore because I'd like to be nervous. I let my coaches do that. They watch the videos, they tell me what to do, and then when I'm in there, I have a certain level of nerves because I don't know exactly what they're going to do. So I'm much more sharp and on edge, kind of like a wild animal coming out. You know what I mean? Like if somebody's dog comes at you and you've never seen that dog before, you're gonna be like, okay, you're like really, in the moment. You're sharp. If you've seen that dog 100 times, you kind of know what to expect. So you might not be as on edge, kind of thing. I don't know, something like that.
No, that's super interesting, and that's a fascinating way to go into a fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been on both ends of it. When I first started, I was extremely nervous, just overly nervous. And then I worked with a mindset coach and did a lot of my own stuff to work on my mindset. And then I had no nerves. And then I had to find a happy balance of having some nerves because I was able to realize that like the nerves are important. Um, so that has helped me a lot. And another advantage I feel like I have is like if I watch a fight and I see this guy do the same thing all the time, like I might be like, oh, wait for that thing to happen. When's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? And then I'm more like playing to your game and not playing my own game. So it kind of helps with that too. Like I'm just gonna go out there, I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna be sharp. And if you throw a punch at me, hopefully I'm not there, when it swings past. So
Gotcha. How did you originally get into fighting?
I actually I was in a public speaking class with a guy who did his assignment that day on mixed martial arts. I'm from the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, and I didn't even really um, know about it, that it was a thing until he was talking about it, and then he said that he does it with his friends at the high school wrestling room after hours. And I was like, hey man, I would be interested in doing that. Because I really didn't have much confidence. I came from a very abusive home. My stepdad was very abusive, and very he was physically abusive, but very like mentally abusive, making me feel like I'm nothing, didn't have any confidence, stuff like that. So I went there and I started training with them, and it made me feel good about myself, like learning a new skill. And like any, especially man, like you learn how to fight, defend yourself, and it makes you feel good about yourself. And it was enough for me to, honestly, I dropped out of college, which I don't, advise everybody to do, but it was just the path that I had. And I moved downstate, the lower part of Michigan, to live with my uncle. I did construction with him while I was traveling down to the Detroit area to train. Um, and then I got talked into. I really was just doing it for confidence. I got talked into taking a fight. I did very well in that fight. I won in the third round. And then I was hooked ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I guess did you, with the mental abuse from your dad, I guess did you start out fighting angry or training angry? I should say.
No, I don't think so. I was never angry. Yeah, no, I don't think I was angry. You know what I mean? I'm insecure. I was insecure. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But like, I wasn't angry.
Okay. And so The Ultimate Fighter, it's always been one of my favorite shows. Do you have any good stories? Do you have like one good story from filming it or anything?
Something that wasn't on the show.
Yeah, something behind it.
Let's see. Yeah, we had okay. So so I don't know if you know who Leah, what's her name? I think her first name is Leah, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. She they were all drinking by the pool. She accidentally kicked in a glass into the pool. It shattered. There was shattered glass in the pool. In the producers were they're all coming out. They're like, "Hey guys, get out of the pool. No, there's glass in there. It's dangerous." And then Justin was just like, he's drunk. And he's like, "What? Get back in the pool!" And he just runs and he goes to jump off a decorative rock to splash into the pool, but he trips on the rock and he goes face first and busts his nose. And his blood is like coming out of his face, and like he just like rushes to the bathroom, and I think he was like, I don't know, I don't know if he was embarrassed or whatever. It was a hilarious moment. But they were like trying to get into the bathroom, and Macy's in there holding the bathroom door shut. She's like, "No, fuck off." And they're like, "This is a TV show. Let us in there," with the cameras. It was a pretty funny situation.
That's hilarious. Also, when you lose on The Ultimate Fighter, I guess for you, were you angry? Like what was your mindset, or were you kind of upset that that you lost and like the rest of the show has to go on? You know what I'm saying?
Just I guess I was sad that it happened. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I just didn't perform how I would have liked, and it's such a high pressure situation. You know what I mean? Cameras on you all the time. Like, just when you're sleeping, they're on you. There's even a microphone in the bathroom. Like, you just can't get away from anything. So there was that stress, and then having coaches that, not that they're bad coaches, you know what I mean? But it's a different situation when I don't have my coach. You know what I mean? My coaches that I trust, I have a certain level of trust, and we build a game plan, and they know me on another level. So I don't know. I was upset about the situation. Then I kind of got upset that I just didn't get into the UFC from the Contender because I had such a standout knockout.
Right.
And then it was a couple days after I started feeling better. I was like, you know what? The heavyweight division is so thin. I'm going to make the most of this situation. I still worked extremely hard. I helped everybody out. And, I did what I could with what I had. And I thought that I was just going to be signed no matter what, because I knew that I was a good heavyweight. I thought that I would at least get on an undercard of that card against somebody else, you know what I mean? And then win that fight and then get in. But I just didn't get the opportunity there. So, and I was surprised, like Justin, who was in the finals, lost his finale fight, never got another fight. You know what I mean? It was very interesting.
I know it's so strange. It's so strange that some of the fighters on that show just don't get a call back.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess to go back to your question, I was kind of a roller coaster, but at the end of it, although I was upset I didn't get into the UFC from it, it was a great experience being in front of cameras all the time, and I just made the most of it.
With the Ultimate Fighter coming back, would you recommend fighters trying to get on that show, or should they just go to the Contender Series and not even worry about TUF?
Man, I think well, if it was the same TUF, I would say that the Contender Series is such a better thing. Like it's you just go, you have a fight, and then you get in, you don't get in. You know what I mean? Instead of spending a bunch of time on a show that, I mean, you get paid, but you don't get paid a lot. And um, like me now, I wouldn't do it. I have my daughter. You know what I mean? I can't spend time away from her to do that. But now I think with the way they're kind of trying to rebrand TUF, I think they're going to dump a bunch of money into it. I think they're going to I think it's going to be a lot different. And so I don't know. I guess I would if you have the time and you can separate from your life to be able to do that, then I think that would be a good thing.
Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. So Parker Porter, next week, when do you leave to Vegas?
Next Tuesday.
Not next
I'm
Tuesday.
sorry. What is it? Is it Tuesday today? Tuesday? Yeah. So in a week.
A week.
This Tuesday.
How did that matchup come up, and what do you think of him as an opponent?
Right away, I got the message about it while I was on the plane back from my fight on the Contender.
Wow.
And I was super excited about it. I mean, it's also another dude that's just got in, and I think that stylistically, it's a great fight for me. You know what I mean? I don't think that he's. I'm gonna say this. I mean, he got in the UFC. You know what I mean? He's a good fighter. But I think there's things that I don't have to worry about from him that I would some other guys. You know what I mean? Like just extremely good wrestling and very dangerous knockout power. Like those two things are scary. You know what I mean? In the UFC or as a heavyweight. And I just don't think that he has either of those. And he just doesn't. It's not a great matchup for him, in my opinion.
How do you see the fight going?
I think I will finish him on the feet, and if he doesn't get knocked out, I think that I'll probably wobble him enough to where it'll go to the ground, and I'll just finish on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, looking at you fight 4 times, 5 times a year. So is that what you're going to try and do 2021? Again, just fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to make money. Although I have many goals in the UFC, as far as like what I want to do there, like money is definitely up there. Like I want to, especially now I have a daughter, I want to build a house. You know what I mean? In the way I fight is very conducive to winning bonuses. I go out there and I swing hard and I'm stand up and I finish most of my fights in the first round. So I'm hoping to get a couple bonuses and be able to buy a piece of land and start that whole process of doing that. Her having a home that she stays in and she lives in for a long time is important to me because I moved around maybe 12, 14 times as I was growing up. And like a house never really felt like a home to me. So there's things that, like that's a thing that I would like to do for her that I didn't have.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you almost have 100% finish rate. So you're primed for performance of the night for sure. I mean, you finish your opponents.
Yeah. I'm definitely not a decision fighter. And I feel like heavyweights have a better opportunity on getting knockout bonuses because, I mean, just a lot of meat thrown around.
So heavyweight division. Let's talk about the heavyweight division before I let you go. Who do you got in the main event of the card that you're on? Derek Lewis or Curtis Blades?
I have Curtis Blades for sure. I think his wrestling and well, I mean, he's a well-rounded fighter. And I think that if Derek Lewis just his whole camp worried about the takedown, I think he might actually get dropped because he uses his hands well to get to the takedown. You know what I mean? So I guess it really depends on what kind of camp Lewis had, but I think the wrestling is just too much. And the blending it, he's pretty good at blending it. So
Yeah, he's a terrifying heavyweight. He's just
yeah, yeah. Honestly, I think out of all the heavyweights in the UFC, that he would be my hardest matchup. Out of Stipe, out of anybody, I think he's the toughest guy.
I would
Stylistically for me.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, man. He's tough. He's got tremendous wrestling, and then he's got hands if need be. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
With DC out and Stipe maybe one or two more fights. What are your kind of just thoughts on the heavyweight division?
If you're asking how I stack up in it, I believe that I have. I think there's attributes of myself that will help me get to the top. I think that I'm smart. I've been in it for a long time. I have good fight IQ. I have good work ethic. When I win, I also go back and see what I could do better instead of, most people just, when they lose, they're like, what did I do wrong? And just celebrate when they win. So I've never taken a break in 10 years. I just now am getting into a serious strength conditioning program. I've never been athletic. And another thing about me is I never quit. I have heart for days, and I don't get knocked out easy. I just have, there's so many things about me that I think that I am going to be a tough fight for anybody.
I agree 100%. You're quick for a heavyweight. You got that knockout power. You're smart. I mean, you're a great addition to the UFC finally, and I'm so glad that you're finally in the UFC. Because I've watched you for so many years, and it's so awesome to see. And I think a couple fights and you'll be right up in the top 15, top 25.
Yeah, that's what I would. Some people get, if they win like 5 or 6 in a row. I've seen a lot of people, if they haven't lost, they get a title shot. You know what I mean? That would be nice. Imagine, I get 4 fights in a year. I have 1 or 2 more, and then I could be fighting for the belt. It's crazy to think, like, I've been doing this for so long. I've had 22 amateur fights. Was it 15, 16 pro fights, 2 boxing matches? Like, I just fight, and I'm only like 5 or 6 fights away from like getting that title, the baddest man on the planet. And that's a goal of mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was tough. It was tough to get my goals too, because I feel like everybody has the goal of like, I just want to be in the UFC, out of the UFC, and like that's just been the goal. And now that I'm finally here, I'm like, well, I got to come up with the goals. I'm like, well, being the baddest man on the planet is definitely that's a goal.
Straight up.
And I'm gunning for it.
Straight up. What's your fight weight?
I started this week at 285, but I am now 278. My weight, I can drop my weight super fast in the last couple of weeks because I think I have an issue with gluten.
Okay.
And I hold a lot of water weight. There's, I don't know, like dairy somehow like inflames me, and I hold a lot of water eating that too. And then as I start getting close to the fight, I start cutting out the gluten, start cutting out that stuff, and then the water drops super fast. And I imagine I won't have more than maybe 7-8 pounds to cut.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because I think there's like 2 heavyweights. It's the 265, like you're fighting at 265, or there's the heavyweights that like to like 225, 235, and there's like no in between. It seems.
Yeah, I don't blame the people at 225, 235 for fighting a heavyweight because I think there's less talent in the heavyweight division. There's more opportunity to, although it's, like I said, it's a little more of a wild card, dangerous thing to jump in. too. I think that I think there's better skilled fighters at light heavyweight.
I definitely see your point. I see your point.
Guys just get by just throwing hard, you know what I mean, and being fortunate to have a head there when it lands. And when light heavyweight, I think there's just more having to be skilled, and not everybody has that knockout power.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's the technical. I mean, heavyweight. I mean, if you have knockout power, you can succeed in the heavyweight division. You know, like you can go.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're like 300 pounds, I mean, you know, you can have a 300-pound uncle who can probably knock you out. It's just too much body, you know what I mean, behind it.
Exactly. Thank you so much for talking with me. If you want to plug your social media and your sponsors, go right ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Social media, Instagram, Parisian MMA, Twitter, it's just Josh Parisian. My Facebook, I don't update it very often, my professional page, but I believe it's Parisian MMA as well. As far as my sponsors, Law Offices of Timothy McDonald, Parisian Home Improvement, and Phoenix Athletics.
Awesome, man. Good luck in your fight next week. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.